being born in our nation of Zimbabwe, he embraced our values, our tradition, and our customs. Well, respected them, understood them. And the challenge of everyone is, as culture is dynamic, Father Ribeiro tried all he could to bring that dynamic aspect of our culture into our everyday life. This is evident in how he tried so much to fight for justice and fight for equality. He told me in one interview that I did with him that when he was young, coming from tending the cattle, his father and mother and brothers were standing outside, and the settler then just took everything that they had, and they had to go to Kadoma and stay there. It was a nationalistic awakening in him that this is not right. I have to do something.
Nasi ndine msodzi pamatama nekurasikirwa negamba resangano, gamba renyika. Sekuru ndichivatarisa, as we call him Sekuru, us as the church, taivati Sekuru, pamusana pewisdom yavo yavanga vainayo. Tichiona Sekuru zvandinonyanyoona zvakakosha. He was an advocate. Ukaenda kwaari nenyaya yako vaikumiririra. Sekuru was a facilitator. Mukaita zvenyaya yaunotambudzika nayo, Sekuru vaigona kukuyananisa inokuona kuti zvagadzirika. Sekuru was a resource person. Dura renjere nehungwazi. Ukasvika kwaari, he was a good listener. Muungwazi wavo waigona kukupa zano rokuti ende unokwasha zvakati kuna ningi, ende unokwasha kuna ningi. Touya Sekuru vanga vaine aspect ye conflict management. Muchinge mapesana zviye muri boka kana sesu takadai, vaiuyazve nama strategies ekuona kuti mayanana madanana. Sekuru was for the common good mu decision making yavo. Havaizvifunga, vaida kuti decision iyoyo ibatsire voruzhinji.
Father Ribeiro was a man, I would say, lived the gospel. The values that he stood for, the nationalism in him, the priest, he was a nationalist. I was raised in Highfield, and I think I just knew Father Ribeiro. I went to the same church where he was a parish priest, the St. Mary's. That's where I was baptized. He was the parish priest. As a chaplain, he used to sneak in and out letters from the prison and into the prison. And so in our household, he was very much present. And this is more than just being a priest. So he's a priest that we really, as a Takawira family, we all believed he was our family priest. His work at a national level, his contribution towards the literature of the liberation struggle, particularly the 7 Chinoi heroes. I spoke to him several times during that time, especially at the inception of that project, and he was so excited that he has now found, he has now come across, he has now discovered, he would name them by name. I've now come across the Kuzuzu family. I've now Dube. I now have the information, but I need to know. I understand the mother is somewhere. So he really went very deep. He went to depths that very few people did go to, particularly to really understand not just what the struggle did, but how it impacted the families, the different families.
Baba Ribeiro vakatidzidzisa zvakawanda muupenyu. Magariro chaiwo chaiwo evavakidzani vaitiraira. Mafambiro machengetero evana chaiwo vaitiraira. Sekuru Ribeiro vanga vakura asi kukura kwaveko kwakaita kuti vaida dzimwewo chembere zvikuru. Vanga vasingazvioneivo semukuru, vaitozvona senge vari jaya, nokuti vanga vasingapedze svondo. COVID isati yapo, vasina kufamba muraini vachifambira kuno dzimwe chembere. Chembere dzese vaifamba mudzimba dzedu, vaipinda last week yacho vakapinda. Aminote zvino chikomborero tichachiwana kupi? Post hatajara chikomborero chemumba. Baba Ribeiro vaifamba mudzimba dzevatenderi vavo vachivapa zvikomborero.
Taivati sekuru nekuda kweruzivo rwavakanga vainavo, wisdom yavo yanga yakanyanyisa, yekuti sekuru chinonyanya kutibata isusu munhu uya aikwana pese. Vanga vasingazvitore kuti ndiri mupriest, vaikwana pese kune vanhu vakuru vezera repakati, vana vadiki, even vana vaiva munoti mimi ndeve ECD, vaikwanisa kutamba navo vana ivavo. Sekuru vaiti kana vachiita masi yavo yaibvira kukutsanangurirai bhaibheri sezvariri. Vanga vasingawanzoda kutora mharidzo yemusi iwoyo, vaiti vakabata mharidzo iyoyo, asi vaizofamba nemi rwendo rwemharidzo yavaiti svondo rino ndoda kubata. Kana iri Genesis, vaikubatira Genesis iyeye vachifamba nemi zvokuti munzwisise stage by stage zvakaitika kubva nyika ichivambwa, zvokuti munopedzisira imi makutokwanisa kuzozvitsanangurawo nekunzwisisa kuti zviri kufamba sei. Tichigara nasekuru pano takadzidza zvakawanda. Takadzidza even sekutaura kwamboita vamwe kuti chikafu hatingodyi zvese, tinofanira kunge tichitoziva zvinhu zvinovaka miri yedu. Even kana ukarwara, vaitiratidza kuti ukangosvika vasekuru ndaita nyongo, vaingoenda newe mugadheni votongokuudza kuti tora chiruva ichi, idya mashizha achona, unotoita right. Zvekuti waitoona uchitorarama uchitoita right, usina kumbobudisa mari kunotsvaga mapiritsi kana chii, watobatsirwa nasekuru. Tinoonzwa kuremerwa nekurasikirwa kwataitwa. Hatisirisi toga tarasikirwa, nyika yese yarasikirwa.
He told me that there was now the reality that we are going to have a new nation. How are we going to be identified as? We need things that are intrinsically ours. And phrasing the colors on our flag, going into putting the emblem, its meaning, because there is nothing without a meaning. Being a philosopher too, he had to put meaning into the flag. Later on, Solomon Chairo had been given the mandate to compose the national anthem. But Father Ribeiro, being someone who's quite melodious, he had to find a harmony that then with the other committee members would then come up with the national anthem. So every time that we hoist the flag and we sing the anthem, his footprint is imbued in all these things. Secondly, and which is very primary, I'll speak to him as a servant of the Lord, who worked in the vineyard of the Lord, who dedicated his life, who gave everything that God had given him. Reminded of that scripture passage where the king would give his servants a gold coin and then he would leave. Come back after a time. What did you do? I did this. What did you do? I believe that Father Ribeiro will be crowned in heaven, for he multiplied what God had given him. The voice, he sang over 60 songs that we can use in liturgy.
Neurombo ruzhinji rweZimbabwe tarasikirwa naBaba Ribeiro. Baba Ribeiro munhu andinoziva kwemakore akati kuti. Ndakatanga kusenza nawo kubva 1970 kusvika nhasi vazotisiya tanga tichingori tese. Baba Ribeiro munhu akasenza basa guru kunyaya dzokuimba. Ini ndiri mukomboza, ndinokomboza dzimbo, tachikomboza tese. Baba Ribeiro ndikatanga nekuti dzimbo dzavakakomboza kuti ruzhinji rweZimbabwe vadzizive. Chokutanga vakaimba gamuchirai mambo mupiro uyu. Vakaimba tayari zvipo zvomupiro. Uyu ndiye mufudzi wangu watumwa naMwari Baba. Mambo chimbidzai kuzondibatsira, Mwari chimbidzai mundinunure. Kristu akamuka muvafi, kwakava kudengenyeka kwapasi. Musande jongwe risati rarira, Peter akaramba Jesu. Madzimai Jesu ari mamusande, chema ini zvichemei imi nevana venyu. Mambo mive netsitsi, pupura chokwadi, kana takutadzira chakaipa chii. Uya mweya musande, uya zvimweya musande. Zvino pahondo yaJese pakabuda bukirwa. Kazwai Maria muzere grasi yabamba anemi, nokuti wanzirwa nyasha naMwari. Aleluya munyika dzose. Mwari ngaarimbidzwe kudenga, pasi pano vagarike vakanzwira tsitsi. Ndiwe mukuru, ndiwe mamasimba. Mambo Mwari wamasimba, musande. Simoni mwana waJona, unotida here? Waya naMwari munobvisa matadzwa apasi. Mutungamiriro Yesu andoona uso hwaBaba hunobwinya nokuyevedza. Waya naMwari echipiri, and haleluya wakamuka. Ndo makombozinzi abari Bhero akakomboza, anosvika 24. Babari Bhero kunze kukomboza dzimbo, munhu akaita basa guru muchechi yedu Roma. Kare isusu tichipinda chechi yedu yapinda neLatin. Minamato zvese zvemisa zvati neLatin. Kumasvingo kakabuda bishopi ainzi Bishop Heni. Bishop Heni adaro akatora Father Line. Atora Father Line ndobva vatora vaponde vakapa mvumo nabishopi naFather Line nokuti vanyore dzimbo dzichiimbwa nemutauro wedu washino watinonzwisa tese. Ndo pakatanga rinonzi Vatican II ipapo. Zvadaro Babari Bhero akabva kuno ndokuenda kusangana vaponde. Ndobva vanosvikotora dzimbo dziyazi kuna vaponde vachibva vafunda zvaiitika sei. Ndobva vauya kuno Bari Bhero. Vauya kuno Bari Bhero vakatanga kuumba sangano remakombozasi rainzi Salisbury Composers Association. Rino ndo randakanga ndiri kuenda joina ikoko. Now tiri mukati maizvozvo Bari Bhero vakambosangana nedambudziko nenyaya yekuti muchechi muridzwe ngoma. Nokuti kugwero katanga tibwanzi gwelo takanga tichiridza ngoma. Ivo vaina ngoma kunoko yakaita hondo. Bishop akapenga zvikanzi urikuita zvisina kunaka. Vanhu vakaita shanje. Pakazoita ordination yaArchbishop chakaipa paGavaza. Babari Bhero vakaenda ikoko ndokunotaura Chiketa nevamwe vanhu vashoma ndokuvafundisa ngoma. Musi ordination Babari Bhero akungotora nengoma ndokupinza paichechi ndotanga kukiridza ngoma. Vanhu vakazviona vakati zvaitirwei? Bishop manje misi yaipera, mugadzikwa aitwa kugadzikwa atopera. Akadaidza Bari Bhero zvikanzi uya kuno ndobvaenda. Zvikanzi I did not know kuti chinonzi godo chii. Godo ndarona nhasi. Zvawaita zvengoma izvi zvakanaka. Kubva nhasi muchechi yangu makuridzwa ngoma. Ndo pakatanga ngoma ipapo. Ndokuti kuno kumashonalindi ngoma dzanga dzisingabvumirwe vachiramba. Bari Bhero vakakubudira ipapo. Nhasi tinorodza ngoma muchechi.
I'm not a very good singer, but Father Ribeiro told us that when he was chaplain, he was called from Marare to go to Mutare. There were 7 men ranging from 17 to 25 years who were about to be executed for political reasons. So he went there and he told us that it was just so emotional to see boys, he said, and knowing that they're about to die. So you have to prepare them, to counsel them. After counseling them, he had to witness 7 of them being hanged. And this is where I'm saying that it all comes and kicks in that it's not fair, the justice part. After that, they had to put the bodies in the truck that he had, drive them from Mutare back to Harare, and record them. Then tell the families that this is what has happened. That's the duty and responsibilities of the chaplain. It goes to that extent. And him being alive in person, it go even extend further, because up to the day he died, he was in communication, educated some of the family members of these men who died. And when he was driving back, he said that we are like sheep being sent for slaughtering. And the sheep does not wallow, does not make bellowing or loud noise when it's dying. And he witnessed that. So this song, Wayana ya Mari, Wayana ya Mari, Wayana. So the song is very emotional. He picked up the tune. I say to him, Baba, it was revealed to you from heaven. Because all the way back from that, he was crying and very emotional piece. He composed that song, went to America for some time. In the college he was, in the university, he was lecturing in music. The song was sent to an international stage. The people say that the variations in that song, we have never seen it, we have never heard them. That's how talented he was, and to him that was his, I think, old-time emotional piece. And the other one he composed for the late Archbishop Patrick Chakaipa on his ordination. That time everyone was ordained at Chishawasha Seminary. Patrick Chakaipa was the first one, 1965, to be ordained in Mondoro at your home place. The priest who was there was Father Ribeiro. And the challenge now, because Vatican II had started what we call enculturation, which means that we take your local culture, inculcate it into the practice and liturgy of the church. So, rather than singing songs in litany, songs were in Shona. And from the onset, right up until the outgoing songs, all songs were composed by Father Ribeiro. And so many people were against this, because here is a black man who's now introducing Ngoma and Osho and perhaps Mbira. Then the system would see it as a cult. Chiran. But he's saying that this is who we are. The songs that were composed there, today, they are still resonating, and it's as if they were composed yesterday. The last one, 1988 September, when the late Saint Pope John Paul II visited Zimbabwe. Simon mwana wa Yona, unondidairi. Jesus and Peter conversation. Do you love me? Feed my sheep. Do you love me? Feed my sheep. Do you love me? Tend to the flock. So this song, Simon mwana wa Yona, was the introductory song when the Pope was entering into Borodo Racecourse. And that song, it was sung with such passion. I'm not a composer, but I think when you see your composition being taken so well, you have this amazing joy. When you are standing beside him in Mass and people are singing his pieces, you can see him marking how they are singing. The pitch is too low, they are too high. No, I didn't compose it that way. But he would not bellow it out. He would just, that's what's going on. No, this is not what I would say. Is it your song? Yeah, it's my song. This is your song? Yes, it's my song. It's your song. So there are times when you would say, my songs are imangani. There are far too many to mention. Then you start to tell you that I composed it because of, and I was there, and this is what happened.
Tikataura zvekuimba ukaimba uchirova maoko kudai vaikurambidza hanzi uri kukuwadza nzeve dzako. Ukaimba uchishedzera hanzi imba zvinyoronyoro Mwari anonzwa. Saka vakatikurudzira, vakatipa kutidzidzisa zvinhu zvakawanda mukati mekurarama.
He was a creative person. And if you make any reference to God, it's all about creating a future. It's all about creating a newness. And Father was about that. He created songs with a newness. His voice in the songs that we sang, his voice was always there. And it was a fine-tuned voice.
Chandakadzidza pamusic, Baba Ribeiro vakatidzidzisa music. Panapa takamboita maclasses emusic. Saka taisanganiswa isu nevechidiki. Vechidiki vanokurumbidza kubata. Takazoudza kuti nhai sekuru, imi munoti inini ndakunza mbuya tu. Imi mungandidzidzisere nevechidiki vari kuma 20 years, ini ndakuma 50 years. Vakazotiti tsvagai zuva ramunoda mouya tichikudzidzisai. Takadzidziswa zvakati kuti tichipiwa mabhuku. Asi tinongoti isusu Mwari vanoita zvavanoda ivo nemunhu wavo. Tinongokumbira isusu zvikuru, isusu mhuri yepa Old Highfield, kuti dai Mwari atinzwira tsitsi. Zvikuru kuvaimbi tarasikirwa, zvikuru pamusana pekuti Baba Ribeiro akanga ari mudzi muchikatolike chedu pamusic.
It goes on to say that he said, do we have a choice? That's the most important thing. Where there is injustice, there has to be justice. And that's what he was fighting for. He vividly saw how they were mistreated, and all he wanted was equality. So that approach to assist, to love, and to serve had always been in him, thanks be to his parents. And let us bear in mind that his father had a very strong influence on him. Now we need to understand the fact that he is now serving as regarded as a black national within the white structure and working with blacks who are imprisoned for trying to liberate their own country. So it makes plausible sense not just to support them, but to listen to them. His last work, he was writing the injustice that was done by the Smith regime in incarcerating young boys and girls who were regarded as terrorists and political prisoners. And they were mistreated in prison, and some were hanged. So in his last research, I spoke to him, Baba, you're old. Why do you keep on writing these things? What motivates you? Is that he said that we are not yet free. Even though we have attained independence, we are still grappling with neocolonialism. And we need to be able to speak our own stories. We need to, this is why you find that he had this a spirit even to write Mchadura, which would then speak about the avenging spirits. But for him to write as a Christian, as a Catholic, to write about avenging spirits, he's actually saying that even though we have Christianity and Catholicism, our forefathers worshipped, and perhaps they even worshipped more than those who are bringing this religion to us. But we cannot silence it just because we have adopted this. Let's give an ear to both testimonies and be able to understand them. So you find that by merely writing, he's not writing because he wants to write. He's writing, he's speaking, he's fighting for a cause. And that is also seen up until his last breath.
akandisira mapepa nezvaakataura kuti tinofana kuita macomrades akaurayiwa kuprison aitida makwanisa kuzosvika nekuakorekta kumafamilis avo ndo list yakandisira
list yacho
ndakasirwa list
watarisa ukama watatinarwo naye wandichataura mumashure ndaita announcement watarisa izvi rwendo rwake rwaakafamba narwo tine zvatinotarisa kuhurumende zviri mumaekti anotaurwa ehurumende kozouyawo kumusangano nekuti musangano wakatotaurwa muconstitution yezimbabwe kuti vanhu vakarwa hondo vanofanirwa kupiwa rukudzo, honor and respect and dignity. Uyu wanga ari umwe wedu.
Do your best. Do your very best. He told me one time, when you say mass, say it as if this is the last mass you're going to celebrate. Do your very best. As he was a perfectionist, do your very best. And I think as Catholics, we need to do our very best in everything that we do. Our approach towards music, towards now these days, social media and communication. Let's do our very best. He set standards in terms of everything that he did. He would leave a mark, a positive, good mark, wherever he would go. And we need to do that. As Zimbabweans, we have lost a hero, and we need to take up from him what he did, how he loved the nation, how he was there for the people. You know, funny enough, several years ago, we were in schools. They were doing the pledge. When I interviewed him, he showed me the stanzas in the pledge that was being stated in schools now. He showed me the stanzas of the pledge. He said, I wrote parts of these in 1979. And what was supposed to happen, because we have now a new nation, so we are supposed to pledge our allegiance to this new nation. But because of the developmental approach and model that was adopted by the government, it was laid aside, only to be picked up later. Opened up the book, showed me, and he told me, in a few months' time, this is the pledge that students are going to say. So it's not anything partisan, but we don't know any other nation other than Zimbabwe. And if you do not love it, you and I would confess, and now I'm seeing it. I think there is no nationality that speaks bad about their nation other than Zimbabweans. When you post anything to do with our nation, you find people in Zimbabwean diaspora castigating it, speaking bad about it. And yet, in other countries, and you gave me a comparison, in Nigeria, when you finish education, I think what would be their A-level, you are not accredited into college university without going for a national program. And I think Nigeria is one of the best in the continent, maybe the third in the world. Why can't we do that? This is why you find Nigerians that love their country. They will never speak bad about their country. But there are things going on here that are probably worse than what we experience here. But you never find them doing that, maybe because of that. And perhaps we owe it to, had Father Ribeiro introduced this, and maybe it would have lived longer, we could have had, as we saw in the flag and the anthem, a pledge that we all love.
Maria,